What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 976 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy Friday. We are once again intercession maxing on this episode of PCC so that we have no technical issues, the same way it was on Wednesday, thank goodness. We already have a couple of $20 super chats that we need to get to.
Go for it.
Shane H. Wilder. Happy Friday, Brett and Mary. I have figured out how to make Mary's background pop. Bring back Mr. Fluffykins. Everyone loves that bear, and he can keep the rogue crisis actors in line or just add some fairy lights. It's whatever. Yeah, I'm going to spice things up. I don't think that Mr. Fluffykins can be a part of my background because there's quite literally there's I don't know, maybe a few inches of space between me and the wall. So I could maybe nail him to the wall, but that would be kind of morbid. I think some lights would just be the right solution for that.
We'll go for that.
But he is sitting across the room from me, staring me down.
He's giving you, he's like your audience for the show.
Kind of, yeah. Value in You said, you know what this recent change has shown? In PCC context, Brett is not really Brett without Mary, and Mary not Mary without Brett, and more importantly, PCC is not PCC without both of you. Hope the future includes you both. Well, we are here right now in the present and the foreseeable future, as we've told you, but I mean, we're our own people, rather. Mm-hmm. But you know, obviously, we intend to keep PCC as close as possible to normal form with the new circumstances.
Yeah, that's plenty of people so people are still asking is Mary gone? I'm like, she's doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's like, are you?
Well, you said they're specifically asking if I quit or if I got fired, and it's like, okay, so in this imaginary narrative that I quit or got fired, why am I here right now?
I don't know if I think they're only tuning in on the days that you're not here, which I guess would be Tuesday and Thursday.
Well, that's their mistake. You gotta tune in at all 5 days of the week, like a loyal crisis actor would.
Well, I guess the only other option would be to just go 3 days a week, but that doesn't work either. I got other stuff to do. I got to do Tuesday and I got to do Thursday, guys. Tune in, please. We really want all of you guys to stay in tune on the show, watch the channel. We're making all these videos, and there are still, if you don't have time to watch live, remember there are still segments going up each and every day. We put out the audio version. One thing I have noticed is that the people that notice the difference are the ones that watch. I have not heard those comments from anybody that listens to the audio version. They can't tell the difference the same way.
Yeah, I think that the people who listen to the show, first of all, because there's no comment section on Spotify or Apple, are not going to be expressing their own feelings about the change. But also, most people who listen to podcasts on those platforms just kind of let them play. Yeah, it's on an autoplay format. Yeah, which that's how I listen to my podcast. It just plays one after the other.
Do you listen to your podcast mostly through YouTube, or do you listen to it through audio platforms?
I think mostly on Spotify. Well, I guess if there's an interview where I want to see people's reactions on their faces, then I watch it on YouTube. But I think maybe it's half and half.
It's also, I guess it shouldn't surprise me that there's been the pushback, because most of the podcasts in the space, unless you're one of the really big channels which can afford to fly guests out all the time, they're doing these types of remote shows. So we were doing something unique that less people were doing unless they were big channels. So I get it, guys.
I listen to more than one podcast that they are completely remote and always have been. One of them, I loyally listen to it on a weekly basis, and they've always been remote, and it's just the way it is. And I feel like that's how most of them are.
Well, it's also for the ones that do it really, really well. So I watched this podcast.
Sorry, we got a big super chat, so I don't want to skip past that. From Madahu99.
Thank you.
You'll have to work hard to beat yesterday after that My Strange Addiction story. Most cringe yet, LOL. Now 1,000-Pound Sisters is going to be on my Facebook for days since they're both by TLC.
Woo.
Thanks a lot, LOL. Yeah, I saw that on my own Reels algorithm without you having told me about it, and I was like, I had the same first reaction that Mike Harlow did, which is like, how is she still fat when she's snorting her food? Like, also, I don't know what, like, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what could happen to her, but it definitely seems like that could kill you.
No,
right?
She was warned. She's like, they're like, this is incredibly dangerous, and you're eventually going to have to stop, or something bad is going to happen.
Like, it's going to get in. Isn't it going to put food and liquid in your lungs?
Yes, basically.
Like, that's literally what's going to happen.
Or like into her brain through her nose. Like, it's crazy what we were seeing from that. So look, that type of story is why I was trying to point out. I'm like, this is why you'll never see this stuff go away. There's too much money to be made in sharing people's ridiculous stories. Now more than ever, because people can monetize it themselves by being weird on the internet on their own platform. But long before social media was what it was now, they were making My Strange Addiction with these types of stories. They still do,
though.
Yeah,
like, it's still popular. I remember one of the very early episodes. There was one where a woman like ate toilet paper.
Yep.
And then another one where she was addicted to like, she would like sleep in bed with her hair dryer pointed at her.
Why not?
Like, turned on.
Look,
as blowing hot air at her all night.
And we all know Mary's stance on these things. Mary is very famous for saying what two people do in the comfort of their own homes and the privacy of their own homes is their business. It's nobody else's business.
That's just my brand condensed into one sentence. We have another 20 from Pop Culture Junkie.
Thank you.
Greetings to my favorite online entertainers and provocateurs. Today starts my 3rd year of PCC, my daily 2-hour fun break. Thanks for all the fun, and I hope I've been able to make an occasional useful contribution.
You always do.
You do, every time, yeah.
He's always the one contributing because
he's so many stories.
He's the one giving us useful. He was telling me yesterday when we were covering some of the stuff with Netflix and then some of the other things, he had his own insiders that were talking about Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy. So he's always contributing to the story. So thank you so much for that. Guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Also, I should always tell people, and I never do, to turn the notification bell on so that you can be notified anytime a new segment or a new episode comes out. And if you miss an episode, be sure to check out the segments that we clip and put out on the show as well. Thank you guys so much. So what are we getting into today? Number one being they have finally got the cast for Tangled figured out, and they have gone, oh, there it is right there. Hold on.
Already the first crisis party. Okay, I'm gonna awkwardly dance inside.
I've gone back to this one. This is my personal favorite. It's the one that's just the song, the Put a Girl On Crisis Party. That's my personal favorite of them because it's
legendary.
The one you can actually dance to more than the others. So, okay, we are going to talk about Tangled. They've got their cast figured out, and of course, they actually did cast a white actress and also apparently a Zionist. So we're going to get into that because everybody's mad apparently. So we're going to talk about it. Also, Mary introduced me to someone named Odessa. How do you pronounce her last name? Is it Azion?
I don't even care enough about this person to learn how to pronounce her last name.
She has a wig controversy.
Yeah, she was accused of wearing wigs and blackfishing, essentially race swapping herself. But that controversy aside, she was asked about her wig or whether she wears a wig and claimed that she's too poor to afford one, which reminded us of the familiar pattern of celebrities and influencers pretending to be poor or working class in order to be relatable, which we love. We just love that.
But how do they do that when they know that
makes
Gwyneth
me feel
Paltrow,
so seen?
Gwyneth Paltrow is so successful being not that.
Yeah, they need to follow in her footsteps, really.
So we've got that. Also, a young liberal woman gave herself a MAGA makeover in a weird type of, I guess, like anthropological research to try and walk in the shoes of the quote-unquote MAGA babe. And she had some interesting conclusions, actually, for once.
I don't know if it's just because she also has bleach blonde hair, but I'm like, are we related? Like, Do you see the resemblance, or
I mean,
we'll wait and reveal that
see.
later?
I would say at like you guys have similar facial structure. Does that make sense?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's mostly the hair. I keep getting compared to people who just also have blonde hair.
Also, I think her like when we talked about it, I said the makeover isn't all that intense, but I think it's because she was already a dirty blonde that it didn't seem like she actually did a whole lot except for put on a dress instead of like a big t-shirt.
Yeah, personally, I would never subject myself to a MAGA makeover because it would look terrible on me.
Okay.
But props to her for going out on a limb like that and doing the social experiment.
All right, if you're ready, we'll go. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it then.
So I just want to remind you that no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what you are struggling with right now, the stressors that are on you, just be grateful that you're not one of the billionaires or influencers or celebrities who are stuck at St. Bart's right now. This is a Caribbean island where a ton of rich people went to spend New Year's Eve. And unfortunately, they were unable to return home when they planned to because of the United States abduction of Maduro in Venezuela. That led to a shutdown of air travel in the area. And since then, they have been stuck on the island. And allegedly, there is now a super spreader case of chlamydia amongst all of the tourists there that allegedly, once again, allegedly, started from a patient zero that is an incredibly popular influencer. So allegedly, once again, this guy purporting to be a staff member on one of the exclusive yachts in the island area, he claims that this STD outbreak is ripping through luxury boats in St. Bart's, spreading from crew hookups yacht to yacht like a biological chain reaction. I just have to read this to you because it's written so excellently. This isn't normal clap. They're calling it a super strain that doesn't respond to antibiotics. The bombshell, Patient Zero is allegedly a massive social media influencer, name withheld for legal reasons, but crews say everyone in the marina already knows who it is. Veterans say STD outbreaks happen every season, but never this fast, never this widespread. Some are openly saying by the end of peak season, half the island could have it, and nobody is even shocked anymore. Super yachts, champagne, perfect Instagram lives, behind the scenes, a floating petri dish. So let's take a look at this video
this guy's
from
video?
one of the staff. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Screen share there. This guy is something else. Here we go.
It's interesting.
Here we go.
In St. Bart's, and apparently there's a huge epidemic of chlamydia right now. A ton of boats have gotten hit by it. So everyone on that boat who hooked up with someone else on that boat has gotten chlamydia, and it's just spreading. It's just spreading all throughout St. Bart's. And apparently Patient Zero was a huge influencer. I'm not going to say who it was for, legal reasons.
Did they get Dr. House involved? How did they find out who Patient Zero was?
But yeah, apparently it was them. We've actually had STD outbreaks like this in previous years. I've worked, previous years as well. But never this bad. This is definitely really bad. And apparently this is like a super chlamydia strain. So it's really resistant to antibiotics. So it's becoming a whole thing. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of, the winter season, like the holiday season, everyone in St. Bart's has this. But, it is what it is. I feel like when you come here, you kind of come with the understanding of like, I will likely get something.
What?
Like it's just understood.
It's just accepted. Like there's no other path forward. If I want to go to St. Bart's, I'm getting an STD.
I'm here.
Like
and,
this is just common
no one
knowledge.
Expected it to come from.
Okay. All right.
He's just so matter of fact and chill about it.
He's like, you just know that if you're gonna go here, you're likely gonna leave with the clap. That's just what happens.
I mean, I guess it is sort of an open secret that a lot of cruise ships are basically swinger hotspots.
It's like when they talk
regardless
about
of tax bracket.
It's like when they talk about how old folks' homes are like that too. Apparently,
And old people love going on cruises. I wonder why. Then this follow-up features a video from Bethany Frankel saying she left St. Bart's with a serious skin infection after staying at a luxury hotel, blaming filthy sheets and towels. She even showed the rash, which looks severe. This is not even at the peak of severity, but here, let's watch her video.
Right. Hold on, let me we'll screen share this one as well so that you can get that one. Here we go.
I went to St. Bart's and got a bacterial infection. This is it clearing up after strong antibiotics.
Am I wrong in thinking that just dudes aren't going to make this video?
No, yeah, that's correct.
Daughter has the same thing. Pussy bumps all over her face.
If I were her daughter, I'd be pissed.
A nice hotel or like rental home. I am going to develop a solution to this because people always talk about how could you take a bath in a hotel room? How could you sleep on the sheets? Disgusting. I came home early for my trip. That wasn't the only reason, but certainly it was a factor. I'll show you for real. Like,
why is she doing this?
This is it. Don't ever break out. Mess. Disaster. Look at the drawer. Look at under my eyes. It's disgusting.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Bethany Frankel is known for being incredibly transparent with her followers and sharing a lot of the ugly truths of what it's like to be a wealthy elite. And this post says, luxury hotels, super yachts, shared sheets, shared towels, shared bodies. No one's saying it's the same thing, but suddenly everyone's sick, quiet, and scrambling to control the narrative. Now, to my knowledge, again, I'm not an expert on the subject of chlamydia, but to my knowledge, getting a rash on one's face is not a symptom, right? Since it's an STD, but I could be wrong. I don't know. If someone is more knowledgeable about chlamydia in the chat, let us know.
And I was a bit offended. I'm like, and you think I have some type of firsthand knowledge? I do not.
I was just like, maybe you know a guy who knows a guy who would know about this. I don't know what stories you have. But anyway, the rumors circulating about patient 0 point to Alex Earl as the alleged super spreader of this chlamydia outbreak, linked to her New Year's Eve yacht parties at St. Bart's, and
she was recently seen with Tom Brady, and they were like, "Are they going to start dating?" There was a whole discussion being going on about their age gap.
Yeah, and I didn't even know who her boyfriend was, but she recently split from this dude who I'm just going to start calling Braxton Hicks because I have no idea who he is.
How old is she?
Oh, I don't know, like mid-20s or early 30s.
He just lost his wife to like the jujitsu instructor, so he needs to get him. Like he's like, I need to find a woman in her mid-20s and stat.
But in his quest for revenge, he might have ended up with a terrible antibiotic-resistant case of chlamydia. So R.I.P. Tom Brady, or R.I.P. your ego.
Let's hope.
No proof is actually provided that it was Alex Earl, but she did happen to be in St. Bart's as well, along with all of these other wealthy elites and celebrities and billionaires. So she could be one of the affected people, but we have no idea. She's not going to be posting her L's the way that Bethany Frankel is.
Oh, you don't think she'll tell this story on her podcast? She'll love to talk about this on the podcast.
That's a good point. Influencers love embarrassing themselves because they're narcissists. It's just like whatever feedback they can get from people, they want that. So she has spoken at length about her embarrassing drunk behavior, including door dashing like thousands of dollars worth of IHOP to her apartment drunk and then falling asleep while it was sitting at her doorstep.
Remember they were going to get the insurance for drunk door dashing? Maybe that's what she should get a sponsorship with them.
Yeah. She's also been praised for her honesty about all of the cosmetic work that she has gotten done. I guess that's considered something worthy of praise now. Telling people how you've altered your face and body instead of lying about it at the very least. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this because it's mainly circulating on TikTok and like all of these disreputable outlets like the Hindustan Times
Yeah.
And the like, you know, we know those outlets well.
Yes.
As people who are constantly
When
searching for
when that
headlines,
is
but-
the only article, when that is the only outlet reporting on the article, it's a sign. It's kind of like the Disney version of that is like Inside the Magic, which people
Right.
call Inside
Yes.
the Tragic because you just can't trust anything that they say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think this is also maybe a form of class psychological warfare where people just like the idea that rich people are suffering. I don't know.
You know, they're like, look, or is this the natural evolution of like the old meme of like celebrities? Look, celebrities, they're just like us. So this is the natural progression. It's like, hey, look, they can get an STD just like the rest of you.
I suppose so.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but, you know, that's also some people might, you know, there's a lot of people, and I've seen it in the comments section on a lot of the videos we do. Some people have like this irrational hatred for celebrities, like beyond just criticizing them, where they just really don't like celebrities. And they're like, you know what? Good. They deserve it.
It's hard to blame them because obviously these people bring so much embarrassment on themselves. But I did see one comment that said, even though we have no idea which bacterial infection is spreading in St. Bart's, there were a lot of legs spreading. Lots and lots of legs spreading.
Lots of legs spreading. That's
not a good
right.
idea.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into today.
Yeah, so there has been a controversy that's broken out over a new piece of Target's Valentine's Day merch collection. Specifically, this sweater that is being marketed toward women that is emblazoned with the slogan, "Dump him," in the pink and red for the holiday. Lisa Britton tweeted about this after seeing it at her local Target. Although I looked at the website and couldn't find a listing for this sweater, I do believe that she posted this and it's not just, you know, an AI scam or something. She said, "I saw this sweater promoted at Target. Could you imagine if in the month leading up to Valentine's Day, Target was spotlighting a dump her sweater in the men's section? People would lose it. I'm so tired of this garbage."
Somebody made it with Grok. And then somebody also made it with Grok with Chad arms.
Oh, there was another one from X user Venom. Do you have that one? It was an AI generated version of a guy wearing the sweater that says "Reject her if she's not a virgin," and said Target should sell these sweaters. So obviously the objective was met in, you know, trying to stoke more battles of the sexes online. That was really the motivation behind designing a sweater like this, is just to spread more animosity between the sexes, which is the last thing we want. And Lisa ended up writing an op-ed in EV magazine about seeing this sweater, calling it the normalization of anti-male advertising.
This has been normal for decades. This is nothing.
She did the typical thing of saying, you know, what if the roles were reversed? Can you imagine what would happen? And she said, you know, this would spark a national outrage.
I disagree with her. We got a 20 here from Katie. Says koalas are known to have this illness on the boat. On the boat I am from, she says I'm from Australia, and that the koalas are known to have. I'm guessing she's talking about the STD.
Pretty much all koalas have chlamydia. And
well, maybe that's the problem.
I understand why.
Maybe there was no leg spreading. Maybe they were just hanging out with koalas.
I don't know if they have koalas on the super yachts.
You never know. Anyways, I don't actually agree. I don't think that there would be a national outrage because I don't think that any guy would ever buy this or entertain the idea. And if he did, he's extremely feminine.
She compared it to the infamous Gillette commercial from 2019, which a lot of people would consider around the time of peak woke. That was aired during the Super Bowl that year and sparked this uproar. I think it was the commercial where the guy was about to catcall a woman, and then this brave, valiant black man steps in between.
Hey,
man, that's not cool.
We don't catcall here.
She said, Now, every year, I join a group of advocates for boys, men, and fathers in reviewing Super Bowl ads. We highlight those that portray males in a positive light as protectors, providers, loving partners, humans who deserve respect, compassion, and love. It's a small act of resistance, but it's necessary. How transformative would it be if instead of dump him, Target promoted sweaters saying, love him or marry him? Imagine the seeds of affection and commitment planted in shoppers' minds rather than discord. I would say it would take a whole lot more than, positive vibes on Target sweaters to reverse our marriage decline in this country. But I can't disagree with her on the obvious fact that advertising does change people's cultural attitudes, and that's oftentimes why it contains messaging like this, not just to sell products.
So where do you think it comes from? Because I feel like this type of advertising, it's that quasi snark. I would say that this sweater is designed to be sold to the same woman who listens to Cardi B in her car at full volume. It's the same type of person where it's maybe not Cardi B, but any type of rah pro-feminist music that's designed to be listened to in your car with the volume turned way up while you wear this sweater and you cradle your Stanley the size of a small child that you're not actually going to have.
Yeah, that is definitely one of their core demographics. It is also funny that they chose a plus size model for the sweater. And it's kind of playing into the fridge archetype, the fridge friend that's hiding all the snacks. She's trying to encourage her more attractive friends to be single.
You know what they should do?
Jealous of their prospects.
They should make a sweater that says she's not interested and only sell it to women in size 2X and up.
I bet they would buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
She's not interested.
Now, the first reference point that came to mind for me, of course, was this Juicy Couture shirt that Britney Spears wore back in 2002 in front of paparazzi after her breakup from Justin Timberlake. And it's had such cultural impact to this day that they are copying it in Target lines. Mm-hmm. I even bought a replica of this exact shirt several years ago, not because I necessarily felt like personally spoken to or connected with the message on it. It's just cool that it's a replica of something that Britney Spears wore. I don't have it anymore, and I probably wouldn't wear it. I never did. I just buy things because I feel proud of having something that's like some sort of cultural reference point. But this, I think, was worn in a much different spirit when Britney Spears wore it. And this was in the pre-social media era. You know, if she went through a breakup with Justin Timberlake in the 2020s, then she would probably be sharing a bunch of faux inspirational bad bitch quotes on her Instagram story. But before she had that type of outlet available to her, and merely had the paparazzi and tabloid coverage of her personal life, she used clothing to communicate the absurdity of how public her breakup was and kind of poke fun at all of the people who were trying to get the inside scoop about it. This shows that she was, in a way, kind of having a sense of humor about the whole thing, whereas the Target sweater just has, you know, bitter vibes, like just bitter man-hating vibes that are also quite outdated. It's something that you would expect to see in Target like 10, 15 years ago, not today.
Yes, I mean, honestly, 15 years ago, it might feel a little bit like it's on the outer edge of it there. Maybe not. Maybe 15 years ago would have been what, 2010? So about right.
I'm talking like peak BuzzFeed feminism, like back when that was popular. It's even passé to self-proclaimed feminists at this point to wear things like this because they would see it as too male-centric to be obsessed with hating men. A couple of replies to this tweet from Lisa stood out to me. One said, "It feels like the world is generally hostile towards good things lately, and it's just getting worse. Even the smallest things will be used to destroy what is good. Another one said, Jordan Peterson once argued that a lot of what's happening in our culture is just attempts at fertility suppression aimed at young women, and now I see it everywhere.
So they're saying,
do you think that it bears that level of significance to the people who designed it?
I was going to ask the question to you earlier. I said, basically, I was going to say, like, am I wrong to at least have the instinct that maybe it's not that serious? And that the, and that the lady, who's designing logos to go in Target may just have thought that this was quippy and something that, seemed kind of bad bitch or whatever, and it's not that serious? Does not mean that the ramifications won't be serious, but it's also problematic to ascribe some overarching supervillain motive to every person who designs a stupid shirt.
Right. I would ascribe that more to the things they sell in Pride collections compared to this, but it is that deep and it isn't that deep at the same time. The people who are behind a product design like this probably aren't consciously thinking like, we have to suppress women's fertility.
Yeah.
They are just as much a product of the culture as the consumer. And that's why they think that this will sell well, Well,
yeah, it's also been built off the back of all the messaging where this worked 10 years ago or 15 years ago, right? Where they're like, okay, it worked then. Will it work now? Well, that depends on who you're selling it to. Maybe it's not going to work if you put this in a Hot Topic or or something like that. But for like middle-aged, maybe late 20s, early 30s, not middle-aged, but like late 20s, early 30s women shopping at Target, I'm sure there's plenty of them that would wear this.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can relate to this, but every time I go to the airport specifically, I see people wearing the most abhorrent slogan t-shirts.
I mean, I'm
things
against
that are
logo
very
t-shirts anyways.
But they're very aggressive. Like the slogans that they're wearing are like, I fucking hate my life and everyone around me. Like I don't even know how, I can't like specifically off the top of my head reference one of them, but they're all like really aggressive slogans about like hating everyone, hating your life, being depressed, like stressed, depressed, but not well dressed or something lame like that. Like I don't even know how to quote one of these slogans.
It makes you long for the days of a shirt that said like "but first coffee,"
or it says like "get the fuck out of my way." Like why are you wearing that at the airport? Yeah. I feel like you shouldn't, like, since we were just talking about things not to wear at the airport, you can dress comfortably without putting on an aggressive slogan t-shirt. Lisa expanded in the article about the impact of messages like this toward especially children who might see it passing by, subconsciously having these messages ingrained in them from a young age. She says, what does a young boy think when he sees "dump him" casually slung over a mannequin? Might it sow doubts about his worth, making him wary of women or feeling inherently flawed? Or consider a teenage girl absorbing anti-male rhetoric. How does that shape her expectations of relationships? Companies like Target must recognize the ripple effects. Hiding behind humor only makes it worse. It normalizes negativity, turning division into a punchline. This is dangerous territory, eroding the fabric of our families and communities. And while I understand your impulse to say it's not that deep, I think I agree more with her stance. That, these messages on a large scale, not just one sweater, definitely change people's attitudes about society and relationships. And that's part of the reason why they're so abound in marketing today.
There was we went to Virginia to go to some thrift stores last week, and there was at one of the thrift stores there was a sign that was basically a large "No Girls Allowed" sign. And I was like, it was like "No Girls Allowed." And it was for like kids, right? It's like boys, like they roughhouse, they play. And I was like, I can't believe that sign even got made.
Honestly, yeah, same.
But
that's unexpected.
Yeah.
But every time you go to like a bookstore, they're much less subtle about it. They're selling stickers and bumper stickers that are like, one of them I saw recently said, I want for you whatever you want for immigrants.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, you want me to be happy in the country where I was born? That's awesome. Thank you.
I wish I had thought of this beforehand, but So there is a store, and I'm not going to be able to find it now. It's a damn lost cause. So there is a store in downtown Frederick. It's a bookstore, and it has a sticker wall, and it is the most annoying, pretentious, WASP, or awful, affluent white liberal, every sticker was the most annoying thing you've ever seen. Maybe I'll find it later and put it on like the PCC X account, but it's like the whole thing made me just want to like puke.
No, all of the bookstores are like that.
Yeah.
Like they all sell shit like that because people don't even buy books now, so they have to sell like feminist socks. Another sticker I saw in a bookstore just a few months ago was an illustration of a vulva, and it had a diagram circling the clitoris that said like, "It's right there, idiot." And I was like, I'm in a bookstore right now. Like, I don't want any part of this. And then there was another whole section for tarot cards and witchcraft and sage, and like all of the bookstores are like that. But then less subtle versions of that exact type of marketing exist in more mainstream places like a Target.
Yeah.
Well, so it's kind of everywhere.
And that's the type of thing where you look at it and you're like, nobody on planet Earth likes a person who talks like that.
No.
It's almost like it's designed to make you less likable to everybody else. Like the guy who created that sticker hates you, or who created
the harmless version of that is a coffee mug that says "the blood of my enemies" or whatever. Like, I just roll my eyes at it. I think as soon as the millennials die off, we're not going to see much more of that.
Okay.
At least we can hope. We can cross our fingers.
We have a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, my favorite slogan t-shirt. I worked in local TV before it started to suck. I wear it a lot.
How did you even obtain such a t-shirt? That's so specific.
Everything today is so customized. You can just get anything right now.
Or you made it yourself. Yeah.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day first?
Let's see the cringe first.
Right.
Today we have an Alec Baldwin and Ilaria Baldwin cringe, where they're... I don't even know what this video is, honestly. I just couldn't even interpret what was going on here.
Here we go. The first quote on the line says, I'm born at night, so I'm still 41.
Don't know what that means.
Here we go.
I'm still 41, and before turning 42, I had to do this. 41, and he's...
6'7".
How many couples get to be 41 and...
6'7".
And then what's 6 times 7?
42.
42. Ooh, and this is going to be the new...
7
is 42.
Is their, like, producer just off camera with a gun? Like, making them do this?
No, this is... their idea. You can tell this was their idea.
Oh, that was horrible.
They're exactly the type of couple who would come up with this all on their own.
Can't believe you made me watch that. That was terrible. Okay. All right. Let's do Q today. So, guys, actually, what I did is I put out a call on X for everybody to share their pets. So I am going to first share this because this was my call to action. Crisis actors, this is your call to action. Post your pictures of your pets here so they can be featured on Cute of the Day. There have been a lot given so far, so that will all start on Monday. So today you get to see Toast looking drunk because Toast looks slumped over, and this one, which was also because I'm partial and I'm going to give my wife preferential treatment. This is Lily, my Nana and Papa's sweet girl. It was so lovely to spend the holidays with her. Last photo is Elsie, who is very shy. Yes, this is...
Yeah, you found Elsie eventually.
Yes, we did. We were terrified that we had lost her. But this is Lily.
Very cute.
Lily is very cute. She hung out with us the whole time.
That's an amazing chair, by the way.
And that's Elsie over there hiding.
I can barely see Elsie, but I'm
hiding.
sure she's adorable.
So I will be, guys, go find that post. In fact, I've got it here. I'm going to put it in, get rid of it here. Put this in X, or put this in the chat if anybody wants to go. You can submit your pets there, guys, if you want to have them featured on Cute of the Day. So you should go ahead and do that. Or you can, if you want to send it separately, you can tag me in a post on X at Brett Dasovic. Use the hashtag PCCPets and the hashtag Cute of the Day. And we will get them featured on here. Thank you, guys. All right. Let's move on.
At long last, Disney has revealed their casting decisions for the live-action Tangled movie. That is the Rapunzel story, or at least the Disney reimagined version of it. And all of those rumors that Rapunzel was going to be race swapped have been put to rest because, shockingly, they chose a white actress to play a white Disney princess. Her name is Tegan Croft. I had never heard of her before, which is probably a good sign. She's 21, and the actor who is going to be playing her love interest, Flynn Rider, is Milo Manheim, who is 24. I also never heard of him, and you called him an unseasoned version of Timothy Chalamet, Brett.
In one specific
which
photo,
I can see if you pull up this photo of the two of them that Disney published.
he hasn't found his white boy swag yet, the way Timothy Chalamet.
Maybe not. Maybe he hasn't come into his own yet. I have not seen significant backlash toward the decision to cast a white actress, although I'm sure some people are the Arthur meme right now because they were really, really hoping for some reason that an Indian actress was going to get this role. I guess because according to them, hair is a huge part of their culture. I think that really there was something, like deeper on a psychological level going on there, because none of them were pushing for Flynn Rider to get race swapped. They wanted Rapunzel to be brown. They wanted her love interest to remain a white guy.
I mean, that's what's been done.
Make of that what you will.
That's what's been happening with all those movies, though.
Yeah. And, Tegan Croft, I know nothing about her as a person, which is, again, a good sign. It only remains to be seen whether she will flub the press tour for the movie in the future. Hopefully they have, implemented some protections against that, given the disaster that Rachel Zegler caused them. They're going to have her on a tight leash when she's doing interviews for this movie, I'm guessing.
I guess I just figured, it's not 2022 anymore. This is actually the way I expected it to go. The same is true now.
Right.
Remember my long shot guess for James Bond was to be Regé Jean Page, because I think he's got he's not the right look, but he's the right look that Hollywood would have
right.
for him. But I think, honestly, if they had decided in 2021, after the last Bond movie came out, to go right into the next one, that maybe they would have caught the tail end of it there and he would have gotten it. I don't think that that's happening now.
That decision would have aged poorly.
I mean,
for
now
sure.
they've got Callum Turner, who's got, ears that could be shot off very easily by a Bond villain, and he's not Aaron Taylor Johnson or even any of the other choices. He's definitely no Henry Cavill, and I've walked back my claims a little bit about Henry Cavill being too old when I looked at the ages of the other castings of James Bond, which were all, maybe not all of them were in their 40s, but there were a couple that were. So Henry Cavill could still do it, but I digress.
Yeah, I definitely still think that they should have chosen Henry Cavill. But
I do think he'd have to lose some of his muscle mass, though. I honestly think he's too bulky to play. He would stand out too much. He would stand out too much as a spy. All right, continue.
True. Well, initially there was a rumor going around that a different actress got the role. One named, I believe, Catherine Hook, if I recall correctly. I thought that was a ridiculous decision. Since she's in her 30s, obviously an actress in her 30s should not play a teenage character. So I'm glad that they went with this choice. And overall, I guess it's just another sign of a vibe shift. This is kind of a follow-up to the casting decisions for the Zelda movie. Mm-hmm. And then I came across the backlash toward the casting of Flynn Rider. Milo Manheim, apparently, at least according to this X-user, is uber mega Hitler. Yeah.
But also pro-Israel. He's pro-Israel mega Hitler.
He is somehow a Zionist and Hitler, but not just Hitler, uber mega Hitler. And I was like, what's going on? How is he uber mega Hitler? Is he, a former member of the KKK? Like, what's happening here?
IDF, front lines of the IDF going into Palestine, taking out children.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first reply I saw here said, to be fair, the last guy to play Flynn Rider was also mega Hitler. So maybe they were just going for accuracy. So yeah, guys, that means that Zachary Levi in their minds is Mega Hitler.
Who's like the nicest, softest person on social media. Somebody disagrees with him and he's like, we should talk about it.
He's literally just a totally normal, nice guy. We both met him. And he just has some heterodox views and happens to be a supporter of RFK. Not like any of that matters to these people.
Yeah.
Another reply said, Flynn Rider is about to tell Rapunzel her crown was promised to him 3,000 years ago. And that's what clued me into the allegations of him being a Zionist. The evidence for this in the one screenshot provided was an Instagram story posted by Milo Manheim back in 2023 when the October 7th attack took place. He said, "My heart goes out to everyone affected by the attacks in Israel." Heart emoji, Star of David emoji. And then there was another screenshot provided of his comment on Modest Yahoo's Instagram when they posted the following statement. "I do not have the answer to the centuries-old conflict, nor want another person to die or have their life torn apart, Israeli or Palestinian. How do you defend yourself against a terrorist organization that calls for the total annihilation of the Jewish people and uses innocent civilians as human shields? How do you educate millions of people who do not know that the Jewish people have been in the land of Israel for thousands of years, long before the founding of Islam, before the Christian Crusades, before the Arab conquest? But history alone is not enough. How do you reason with those calling for a ceasefire but not mentioning the return of hostages?" And in response to that statement, Milo Manheim commented, "I love you, Mattis." So they are surmising from these two screenshots that not only is Milo Manheim a Zionist, but uber mega Hitler.
There's a $20 super chat here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says Disney's changing in ethnicity of future projects cast is likely due to the 18-month-old $88,000 audience research results that were buried deep in the bowels of the Mouse House, and many staff who read that it, and many of the staff that read it weren't happy. Sorry.
Do you know what that's referring to? I don't know if I'm familiar with that.
I have no doubt that they've done tons of, focus tests and that they do a lot of research into who to hire for what jobs, but they get infinitely more now just by virtue of what sells and what doesn't.
I don't think that Hollywood studios should uniformly listen to fan cast suggestions because a lot of them are retarded. The most clear example of that is people who think that Ariana Grande should play Audrey Hepburn. I think that's ridiculous. But Catherine Hahn was the universal fan cast pick for Mother Gothel, especially after they announced that not Gal Gadot, but Scarlett Johansson was no longer considering the role.
Yeah.
Catherine Hahn is now reportedly in talks to play Mother Gothel.
That's perfect casting. That's perfect.
Yeah, definitely. And another popular fan cast I saw for Mother Gothel was Sarah Paulson, who I think also would be a good choice.
Also, they aren't going to be able to get Scarlett Johansson because she's going to be busy working on the Batman 2.
Yeah, it was a scheduling issue.
Or
maybe that's just a diplomatic way of saying she doesn't want to be involved in any Disney projects.
Where a lot of people are now believe that she's going to be playing Mrs. Dent. And I think that's actually true. Crisis Party.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, guys. Put a girl on.
Eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
Thank you.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Is it still going?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
All right. So the thing is like for Scarlett Johansson, because now they're apparently getting Sebastian Stan for that movie too. She actually makes more sense as like the main villain to me. Because
Sebastian Stan playing Harvey Dent?
So, I mean, that was what the fan cast were, because this is the funniest thing. They're like, Sebastian Stan's stylist posted these photoshops of him as Harvey Dent, and I'm like, man, he's got his own stylist, and this guy's out here, like caping for him online, like, guy's just looking for work. But Scarlett Johansson is the bigger name of the two, so, you give her the bigger role. That's true meritocracy.
Right. So, I mean, I think that there is a possibility that this movie isn't going to be terrible. Another factor that, protects against what happened with Snow White here is that it's based on a movie that came out in 2010 instead of 1937.
Yeah.
So you have way less culture war ammunition to aim at it because it was already a very modern retelling of the Rapunzel story
And that's
to begin with.
That's what people have said all along. If you make your own stuff, there's no backlash to be had. If you just write original stories with great characters, you can literally put any actor in there, and at the very least, they have to then live and die on whether they're good or not, and not whether or not they portrayed a character
Right.
that didn't traditionally look like that.
Well, I mean, granted, Tangled is not an original story from Disney. It is based on an existing
No, I know.
story.
I'm saying like
but-
with less baggage means you have less.
Yeah.
You have more room to work.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think that it is still too young of a movie to be getting a live action adaptation, but this is just Disney doing what they do best, just recycling IP until it's dead and done for.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, again, this isn't the movie for me. It's not like I give a crap about whether Tangled comes out well or not. All I know is it makes more content for us here if it turns out bad. But I think they're hedging their bets with all of these types of stories now anyways. I think they're walking most of this stuff back. Now, that doesn't mean that they couldn't go down the rabbit hole of like horrible casting again, years later, especially depending on whether these movies do well or not. If these movies flop, then they're going to be like, they might start messing with the formula again. And who knows, Bob Iger is going to be out of there in the next couple of years. So things could go a different way.
He already confirmed that?
I mean, he's got a couple, I don't know how long he's got left on his contract, but they're working on their succession plan for sure. Their succession plan.
I know like nobody, especially in Hollywood, is going to listen to me, but I just feel like I have a really good idea because it doesn't have to be Disney that does it. Because I believe Cinderella is the original Cinderella story is in public domain. Mm-hmm. So some other studio could do it. I really want to see a Prince Charming movie, like reimagined in the same way as Amy Adams in what was that called? Enchanted, right?
Yeah.
Where she's like fish out of water Cinderella in a modern day city. I really want to see that adapted for a Prince Charming movie. And then I realized it has to be clavicular playing Prince Charming. And then he decides that he wants to find his princess, and he goes on the apps and goes on a series of unsuccessful dates and then becomes a red pillar.
This sounds like a Hallmark movie.
And then I suggested
without the red pillar
they could choose Jeremy Fragrance as the fairy godfather.
I can't wait.
Right?
I'm
onto something. You have to admit that I'm onto something here.
As Stan Twitter would say, I am seated.
Yeah. Mother is mothering.
All right.
Let's read some super chats. Katie Sensitive Hearts 25 said, "Thanks for this show. It brings me joy as I deal with the far left insanity in my country." And it looks like these are Australian dollars.
Yes.
So that is correct. Well, thank you for tuning in. And Shane H. Wilder said, "I haven't noticed much of a change. Even watching, it feels the same for the most part. People just want to bitch." I mean, I understand like why people feel
people get
uncomfortable
used to
with
what
it.
they want. They get used to things being a certain way. I get that 110%. It's funny because the podcast that I listen to, so I was going to mention this earlier, but then we had the crisis party. So the Stevie Richards Show, which is a wrestling podcast, they do it once a week, but it's kind of a master class in working in two different places because like you can tell there's say a delay, but they're not live. And he's got the, I literally just watched like a 40-minute video where he did like a studio tour of his space. I was like drinking it all in. It was freaking great. And he's got the Elgato teleprompter over his camera so that he can look directly at the face of the person. And, but for me, I have you lined up directly underneath the camera because I have to have you there on OBS. I have to have the video program that we relay through open in the window next to it. I have to have YouTube open here. I'm just trying to not look stupid, which I fail at most of the time, which is, on top of the fact that I can't read well when the text is so small. So there's like these weird challenges that come with it. But the hope would be that, like with most of the podcasts that I listen to, they've always done kind of the same thing. They're not video podcasts, though. They would do the Zoom calls and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the hallmark of those would be there would always be one person with noticeably worse audio than the other one. And I actually, I grew to love it. Like, one of the podcasts that I listened to, one of the guys fixed his audio, and I hated it. So I get it. Like the guy's audio got better, and I'm like, this is just not the same anymore.
Yeah, that adds to the charm of it. I think we're doing a pretty good job, tech issues be damned.
Let's do one more.
El Guapo said, Mary, I'm on day 9 of the Bible in a year. After hearing you mentioned it on here, PCC, it has given me a sense of peace since starting it. Well, that's great to hear. Thank you.
All right.
That's awesome.
All right, let's move on. More to get into.
Yeah, so there is this new Gen Z actress named Odessa Azion, who is a side character in Timothy Chalamet's new movie, Marty Supreme. She's been on many red carpets as of late doing promotion for the movie. But the main controversy where she has been under fire is relating to her appearance, because she has been an actress for a very long time. And people noticed that she took a drastic change and allegedly is attempting to blackfish, wearing a huge curly black wig and lots of self-tanner, and also overlining her lips like crazy. But that controversy aside, she was asked an innocent question about whether she is wearing a wig and actually denied it. And the way she denied it was basically saying that she is too poor to afford a wig, which sounds ridiculous coming from her on the red carpet in full regalia and with the knowledge that she is a Nepo baby in the industry coming from a long line of wealth. Let's listen to that clip that was published by Deadline the other day.
I'm not going to screen share, but I do want to give you props for using regalia in a sentence.
Yeah, thank you.
That was fantastic. Here we go.
There are whole forums online just talking about your hair. You know that, right?
I've been told about that, yeah. There's a whole debate. Is it a wig? Is it not? I guess we'll never know. No, I'm kidding. The gag is the LA premiere was a wig, and the New York premiere, it took me 5 hours to do my hair. And everyone thinks it's a wig. You think I could afford a wig like that and wear it all the time?
She says on the red carpet, do you think I could afford to wear?
You heard it here first, folks. The truth.
What'd you say?
You heard it here first. The truth.
Oh, there you go.
So,
a wig like that is like, I've heard wigs are like can go up to like $20,000 or $30,000. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't even have a hair, makeup, and stylist because I'm trying to save my money. Because what?
Okay, who are her parents?
So as far as I know, her grandfather was a hotel tycoon.
So we're not talking like wealthy actor parents. We're talking like generational wealth.
Generational wealth, yeah. I don't have extensive knowledge of her family tree, but they have their own Wikipedia pages. So, I mean, you can definitely afford a wig.
We are in the boomer age of pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and maybe he didn't give her shit. That's possible.
I mean, I'm just saying, if your parents have net worths in the 7-figure range, you can definitely afford a wig. And it's just an odd pattern that we see from celebrities and influencers alike, where they try to posture as if they are middle class and relatable, if not poor. And she got so much backlash over this clip that she had to offer a follow-up statement saying, I didn't know that there was such stigma behind wigs. I talked about money, and I don't think that people realize for a large majority of your career, you're not making a lot of money. It's not going too crazy, but knock on wood, there will be some changes. But that's just what I meant when I said I'm trying to save my funds. And this did very little to repair the damage done. But it reminded me of so many other examples of celebrities and influencers trying to LARP as what they would call working class. The most infamous example of this is from Victoria Beckham in some Netflix special that she was filming. She started to wax poetic about how her family was working class and that she grew up working class, and immediately David Beckham
Put
steps
her in
into the room
in her place.
Yeah, to correct the record. And then directly after this, you'll see a clip of Bella Hadid, another Nepo baby from Generational Wealth.
Wait, is that the one
that,
where she didn't get her first pair of Louboutin?
She was like, I didn't have anything designer until I had my first pair of Louboutins after graduating high school. And it was like, it just makes me emotional. So like, we'll watch both of those in this clip.
Here is the Victoria Beckham one first.
We're very working class.
Be honest.
I am being honest. I am being honest.
The framing is perfect.
So my dad. My dad. Well, it's not a simple answer because.
What did you get your dad to drive?
It depends.
No.
She's been caught. You can tell by her smile that she knows she's been caught.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the 80s, my dad had a Rolls Royce.
In the 80s, my dad had a Rolls Royce.
And then this is Bella.
Never growing up had anything designer. You know, my mom wouldn't let me. I think I got my first pair of Louboutins when I graduated high school.
She waited all the way to high school to get her first pair of Louboutins.
It makes me emotional, actually.
It makes her emotional. Wait, was she the one who got Lyme disease? Who's the one who got Lyme disease?
She does claim to have chronic Lyme, as so many Nepo babies and Hollywood nobility do.
I was on with somebody else. I don't know if it was with Chrissy Mayer or if it was another person, like on a day when you weren't here, but I was trying to explain the woman who was talking about the spirituality of Lyme disease. And I couldn't find the clip, and I'm like, I'm not nuts. I'm not crazy. This is a real thing.
No, it's an infamous one. But it's very Royal Pains-esque.
Yes.
And it's funny that happened with Victoria and David Beckham, because David Beckham does actually come from a working class background and has sort of what people consider to be an inspirational rags to riches story. But he married someone who comes from a totally opposite family. And I think we can see this pattern repeat itself with the genders reversed when it comes to Millie Bobby Brown and her husband, Jake Bon Jovi. Obviously, Jake Bon Jovi is a Nepo baby.
Before that,
he's never known want in his life.
We've got a 20 here from Vodka J Bulls. Says, Stranger Things fans obsessed with a new secret final episode. They would last in the asylum I grew up in. I think he meant they wouldn't last in the asylum I grew up in. How about Fox's Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles 2-season run ended on a mega cliffhanger? Still butthurt. Yes, Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles was way better than it had any right to be when you really think about it. If you can go find it, it's not on any of the streaming services anymore, but it was fantastic. I do recommend going and look for it. You might be able to find it on ad-free Tubi. If you went and looked
Lost media
really, really, really hard. But yeah, so you weren't here yesterday, but yeah, the Stranger Things conformity gate people were coping even harder because, I almost said October 7th. January 7th came and passed, and they're like, you know what? I think we got the date wrong. I think it's actually December 12th on Monday, and that the documentary is a ruse to trick you into thinking that it's done and that there's going to be another episode.
I think we should just gaslight them at this point and tell them that they're right.
Oh, people are getting rickrolled. They're like, "Oh my God, it's real," and they get rickrolled. So
okay, let's show this clip of Millie Bobby Brown explaining the stark differences between her and her husband's spending habits.
All right, here we go.
You splurge on a big purchase. My husband. Really? What is he getting?
Like, he'll just, like, if he sees something, like, I'll be like, oh, I need socks, and he'll be like, let's go to Prada. And I'm like, let's go to Target. Like, what? He's just like that kind of guy. Like,
he wants to go to Prada for his socks. I can't. She shouldn't have married him. That's the.
He loves to go shopping. He
loves to go shopping. That's like the ultimate red flag.
It's a little bit of a tell.
He will refuse to pack a suitcase because he likes to go shopping in the place we're going. Whereas I'm like, Amazon Basics. Like, I love that.
Okay, she's kind of virtue signaling with the Target, Amazon Basics, but still.
More likely to...
No, I mean, to be fair to her, she does actually, you know, before Stranger Things, remember being a normal person. And he never had that experience, hence why the caption states her Nepo baby husband doesn't know what a bad day is. And I just noticed that similar juxtaposition there. Now, when celebrities have this recurring issue of portraying themselves as relatable and working class, I think influencers, on the other hand, are losing tons of their audience because they start out as normal, relatable people. And as their audience grows, they attain just an unimaginable level of wealth and privilege. One of them is a beauty YouTuber named Jaclyn Hill, who ended up growing her own personal brand and selling lots of makeup, making oodles of money.
Did we cover her? Did we cover her on the channel? I feel like we covered her on the channel at some point.
I don't recall if we have.
Okay.
But she made a video recently about how she's just really upset that people don't watch her content anymore. And basically she's fallen off into obscurity. She's losing views. But maybe it's overconsumption that's finally out of style. Social media experts say the latest influencer controversy shows users are growing tired of overconsumption and luxury content. And it's true that she, you know, follows up this video with one of her, you know, usual luxury hauls where these influencers are just surrounded by countless boxes of Hermes and Chanel. I just saw another influencer that we have talked about before named Becca Bloom making a video after her wedding about this wedding box that she was designing for herself. It was this gigantic Louis Vuitton like luggage case, essentially, with drawers in it.
I think that's the person I was thinking of.
She collected a bunch of these keepsakes from her wedding, but there was even a moment where she said she bought a second replica of her reception dress to keep in the wedding box. And it's just like, people don't really resonate with this content. Like just makes you, it just reminds you of all the things you don't have. And
travel
a lot
content
of people
does well.
think that it just comes off as out of touch.
But
and
like to me, travel content does really well, which also signifies wealth to a certain extent.
Right.
Now, you can make the argument that they're like, well, they have a laptop job, they can work anywhere they want. But most people, like at least from the content that I've seen, most people aren't giving them that benefit of the doubt. They're assuming that they come from mommy and daddy's checkbook.
Sure.
And that stuff still does really well.
But there is like this genre of flexing your wealth as rage bait that seems to work for a particular audience. And I wanted to show this example from Jake Paul, and this commentator, Jason Pargin, basically says like celebrities used to never do stuff like this. You can see Jake Paul here in his recent post, by the way, picking the song Rockstar by Nickelback as the soundtrack, which is just perfect.
Here we go.
80 million followers. It's a photo he carefully staged on his private jet with millions and millions of dollars of cash sitting around, and also lots and lots of guns. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Jason, you fell for the rage bait. That's why he does stuff like this for engagement. But you have to see how weird this looks to someone like me, because I grew up in an era when it was considered deeply shameful to sell out. For example, back in the 80s and 90s of my youth, when a movie star wanted to make a quick paycheck by doing a TV commercial, they would have to go overseas to do it. There's a bunch of crazy...
Yeah, there's amazing like celebrity commercials from overseas that are hilarious to watch.
Japanese ads you can find on YouTube because they thought American audiences would never see them. And our ultra-wealthy politicians would have to kind of cosplay as regular people. They would drive pickup trucks. So it was really frowned upon in both.
I was just talking when Alex did the show on Tuesday. She was talking about how she rewatched Wayne's World recently, and she was referencing the scene about, you know, the product placement.
Right.
Directions. Either if you did something purely for a paycheck from a corporation, or if you were just too open about flaunting your money. And I know what some of you are going to say is that this came from hip-hop culture. But one, at least back in those days, the flaunting of the wealth was a way of showing how far you'd come. Like they would always emphasize the terrible situation they
Yeah, but then Drake came around and said started from the bottom, but we all know that he grew up middle class, so he was lying.
True,
had
yeah.
narrowly escaped. And two, there was still real stigma around the work itself being too commercialized or pop. Now I know that some of you don't see the problem with this. He earned that money, he can show it off if he wants. But he posted this with the caption, "The American Dream," and that's the thing, he's 100% right. This is now the dream, and that's bad. Like, that's objectively bad. Setting this as a goal in your society is bad because, by definition, almost no one can have it. Because the explicit goal is not to have a lot of stuff. It's to have way, way, way more stuff than other people.
If you posted a picture of, like, your wife and your 2 kids and said the American Dream, you'd be called a white supremacist, so...
Well, true, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very fraught terminology, but I mean, it's just ironic that Jake Paul would caption it that way because that's not what anyone has in mind when they invoke the American dream. They think of very basic life milestones like home ownership and marriage and children. They do not think of piles of Hermes and countless stacks of money.
I do want to do a video at some point because I started thinking about it because I've been watching a lot of, like, all of the old shows that I watch. One of the things you hear people talk about a lot is the idea of chasing your dreams. You don't really hear that phrase used a lot anymore. And I think the reason being is that when we lived in a higher trust society where the path to success didn't involve hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans that stuck people into debt traps, it was the nostalgia of the idea of chasing your dreams, which is essentially gone now. It's like when people rewatch movies like Office Space and they're like, oh, boo-hoo, I've got a stable job and a 401k. My life is so crappy. Right? The what is acceptable and what is something you can strive for in America feels different now because people don't really have the ability to do that. They don't really have the ability to actually chase their dreams, or at least that's the way it feels, I think, for most people, is that they can't really chase their dreams because, you know, we're kind of stuck in this society right now where everything is some type of debt trap after college. We do have a 20 here, which I am going to read really quickly. This one is from Badump Bash. He says, well, I just got paid today. Got me a pocket full of change. Well, thank you, my friend. We appreciate that. You guys have been really, really awesome today. I'm going to finish on the rest of the stuff from the article from this guy. The funny thing about Jake Paul is Jake Paul and Logan Paul both, when you really, really think about it, they benefit most because what they're doing is they're either trying to rage bait, or if they're not rage baiting, they're trying to at least portray a character. Now, this is going on with Logan Paul right now. If you go look up Logan Paul over on Instagram, most of Logan Paul's Instagram page is about him saying he's playing his bad guy character that he portrays when he's on WWE, and that's what keeps going on. And there's nothing really that they can do about it other than to keep going forward, because people have to become comfortable now when they're those characters. When you're Logan Paul and you're playing a character, you have to learn to be comfortable with people hating you. And I think we've done videos on this in general, which is that they are. And most people these days, if they want to become social media, you know, superstars, they have to be okay with the public basically hating them, which is kind of crazy that that's the world that we live in now. All right. We're going to go up and we are going to do some more super chats here. Hopefully Mary gets her stuff figured out. I have no doubt that she will. All right. We'll go here to Dingus Khan. Says, hold on, let me pull it up here. Dingus Khan says, I think this new setup works fine, by the way. According to my YouTube year in review, I just watched 489 episodes of PCC last year. That is a crap ton of PCC to watch. So I appreciate you watching all those episodes. Hold on. All right, let's do a couple more here. Shane H. Wilder says, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the super clap. You know you can go and not get an STD, just keep it in your pants. It's not that hard. No pun intended. Yeah, well, that's one way of looking at it. Hold on here. Okay. All right. From Chief Corey Anderson says, Bethany, dear, that didn't come from Sheets. Google says yes. You can find the clap. You can get the clap on your face. That is disgusting and gross. Thank you. All right. Irishima Utaru says, Google says rash around the mouth, but not your whole face. Oh boy. Let's just not get the clap, guys. That would be the best path forward. Corey Anderson says you can get it around the eyes too. The image is like identical to what Bethany had. She is a liar. Okay, I read that exactly as is. I know you guys know that my super chat reading oftentimes requires a lot of like deciphering, but I'm doing my best here. Let's see. Robert Delara says Target is based in Minneapolis. Pray for them and Minnesota as a whole. They are having a rough time right now. All right. Do a couple more here. Shane H. Wilder says you can get anything on a t-shirt. I nearly bought one that says you bet your... Is that... Aspergillum? Is that what that is? Hello.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah. How's it going? Oh, your internet's cutting out again. You might have to reset your router. That's okay. I'm going to keep going. Everybody's like, that's the problem, guys. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But see, the thing, I don't wear shirts with logos at all. Like, I do not, like, I think I have one shirt with a logo that, hold on here. All right. So for me, I don't wear any shirts with logos. If you guys watch the show, if I ever have, somebody can probably find the video of it, but it's much easier to just wear shirts that do not have anything like that. No, thank you. Corey Anderson says, Brett, do you miss Mary or is the silence and calm worth it? Mary, are you going to add Mr. Fluffykins to your backdrop now that there is no color scheme? I think Mary is eventually going to get herself some type of like backdrop lighting for everything, and for me, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. And I miss having Mary in the studio, definitely, because it does make issues like right now where there are tech issues that do happen sometimes, like that's a thing. But in general, like I miss it because it's a more collaborative effort when you're in the studio, and it just makes it easier. Nothing you can really do about it, like in situations like this where, you know, sometimes it cuts out. All right. Okay. All right. Pop Culture Junkie says, hold on here. Pop Culture Junkie says, Brett, based on what I've heard from my Disney friends, you're right about the bet hedging. Now almost part of Disney, almost part of the Disney business plan. For Disney, what I think Disney should be doing right now is focusing on, I guess, twofold, because I was looking at this article earlier, where you look at what they're doing with Star Wars, and it looks like right now they're going to be getting rid of, or not getting rid of, I shouldn't say. Kathleen Kennedy is on her way out. They've got Dave Filoni coming in and another person coming in to do the business side of things. I like that for them, to put the creatives in charge of what's going on with their business, or with their production and the output for all of the shows and the movies, and then let somebody else run the business side of things. Like, I don't want to see James Gunn as a business person when it comes to what he's putting out. I like James Gunn more doing just the creative side of the broadcast, and that's the best we can do, is to see them work in that way. I don't know if that's going to work long term, though, because all of these companies have a whole crap ton of stuff that they need to fix before things come back, and I don't know if that's necessarily possible. I think they've lost too much faith from the audience. I think most of the general public these days just doesn't have any faith in what is going on over at Disney or what's going on over at any of these other companies, whether it's Warner Brothers. People don't really have a lot of faith in the media. And when I look at it now, and I'm not even kidding you when I talk about this, guys, like, when I go look at movie reviews for things like this, most of the people that are talking about it, they're basically saying, like, I don't have any, like, I used to watch a lot of movies, but, and they're not using the terminology that we would use here. They're not sitting here talking about how Disney is woke. Most of the time, what's happened is they've just gotten disconnected from the material. Whether that was because of COVID, that could have played a huge part of it. I don't know. But for most of them, it's not like they left with malice. They're not like somebody like me in the space or other people in the space who their problem with it is they're like, I know you could be better and I want you to do better with this material because I'm passionate about it. No, most of the time what they are doing is that they're saying, I just stopped watching, and they're not kind of ascribing any type of motive to it. They're like, I just lost interest. So they need to get the creatives focused on putting out good creative properties. They do need to pay attention to what does well. If you see something coming out that you think would actually be a good movie to go and watch, you should go and support it, because I don't believe in the concept of boycott for the most part. I don't boycott stuff. If somebody's making something that I like, I'm going to watch it. If they're not going to make something, I'm not going to. For instance, and let me see if I still have this here. And we were going to talk about this today, but then I ended up not doing it. Let me see if I've got it here. Oh, so this is what's going to happen for everybody. If you're wondering where Disney's moving in the future, you're not even going to be getting movies eventually. What you're going to start seeing from them is they're going to be introducing micro content that's coming out. And I'm not even kidding you. Disney Plus, you're not even just going to be seeing full screen, like widescreen video on Disney anymore. Your phone is not the only place where you're going to be seeing vertical content now. This was written just a couple of days ago. And we talked about this before when Tim was saying, Tim's basic idea was like, eventually they're going to embrace AI and they're going to start putting out AI videos and stuff like that. And you're going to be able to watch it and share it with other people on the platform. And that's exactly what's going to start happening. But it's not just going to be AI content created by people that get chosen for these programs. They're going to start mass producing it as well, because they're hiring these vertical companies to start producing short 1-minute edits. So it says, Disney, the company, aims to bring so-called micro content to Disney Plus in 2026. It announced Wednesday at the CES, and is doing so joins a parade of traditional media purveyors working harder to court younger consumers who have grown more accustomed to swiping through TikToks and Reels and other attenuated attempts at entertainment. Disney's first put a stake in short-form attention span theater with VERTs, or short video vignettes, placed on its new ESPN streaming app that may include important game moments or pieces of commentary or analysis from various sports personalities. Fans are able to exert more control over a feed through which they can scroll or swipe, and the videos are tailored to the individual's interests. That's kind of the scariest part to me, too, is like, gone are the days of any sort of discovery where you might find a genre of entertainment that you like that you maybe didn't realize that was available. And like, I've come to like certain types of media that I didn't necessarily know that I liked, but that's not going to happen in the future. Everything is going to be algorithmically tailored to what you searched for before. So if I was to go on Disney Plus and try to look for content, the only thing it's going to show me is the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, or the stuff that might be related to like Alias, which was a show that I really, really liked. You're not going to just be looking through things, looking at covers and finding something new, or being entertained by something that you might not have actually even known existed. There's all sorts of movies. Like, I rediscovered in the last couple of years a love for sports movies, but it wasn't because I was getting stuff algorithmic. There it is, guys. Hold on. There we go. Thank you.
Eating the dogs, they're eating
First
the cats.
Rice's party.
Eat the cat.
And no Mary.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
Like, the internet's out where Mary is. She says like the Ethernet is out, and like she's just on Wi-Fi and nothing right now. So I don't know. That's crazy. Hopefully everything's okay over there. All right. Let's go back here. Others are courting similar engagement. Procter & Gamble, one of the nation's largest advertisers this month, is launching the Golden Pear Affair, a 50-episode micro soap that will be made available initially via social media and later a bespoke mobile app. Nothing will be the way it was, in which you would go through and you would find something that you were flipping the channels and you just happened upon something. Only your algorithm is going to decide what you get to watch anymore, and you're going to cycle through and nothing's going to really feel like there's any sort of like choice. It's awful. So, all right. I'm gonna finish up these super chats here. I really hope that everything is going okay, but we're gonna finish up these super chats here and make sure it's all good. All right. From, what is it, Man Bear Cow, Brett, your camera work is fine. Jeremy is nuts with how much his eyes dart around, giving me anxiety. Mary, hi. Kentucky Derby in May, hint, hint. Does anybody go to the, does anybody in the chat, have you ever been to the Kentucky Derby? Because I have not. Shane H. Wilder says, you had to wait until 18 to get Louis Vuittons? I feel so sorry for you. How did you survive? Yeah. I don't know what the guy's equivalent to that would be, but like for me growing up, 20 years of skating, I got skates at every 6 months because my birthday was in July. And then Christmas was in December. So I would get stuff 6 months apart, but I wasn't getting stuff just randomly because, you know, just the way it was. And one more here from Pop Culture Junkie says, I think Filoni could actually save Star Wars, not because of some great personal creative decisions that he would make, but on who he would hire to write and direct various projects. Yeah, I mean, one of the issues that we were seeing was that Kathleen Kennedy, when she would hire people, she couldn't get along with certain creators. Like, she would hire people on and then they would get fired because they weren't able to produce things the way that they needed to produce things. They didn't make things to her liking. And I don't know if that's necessarily the same, say, on the DC side. Like, James Gunn is only going to hire people that James Gunn wants to hire. But you don't want to hire people that are just in your camp creatively. You don't want to hire people that are just in your camp as far as the type of storytelling that you want to do. Because what's the point of having a cinematic universe if you don't get to actually create some stories that look vastly different from one another? At least that's what I would prefer, is to see different visions. One of the reasons, and I don't know if I talked about this week, but one of the reasons why I really was attached to the idea of Suicide Squad when it was first coming out was the idea that David Ayer's first trailer for that movie, I believe it was 2014, it looked vastly different than the other things that were coming out at that time from Marvel. And it would have been good to see DC movies go in a different direction from anything that Marvel was creating. But then it ended up getting pared down and turned into just the same thing as everything else. And it looked really, really stupid. All right.
I think I'm back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Like your signal's kind of going. Seems like you're okay, but if we lose you again, we might just call it.
You can hear me though, right?
I got you.
Okay, that was really annoying. I guess I don't know. I reconnected to Ethernet, so I think we're gonna be okay.
Okay.
Were we just in the middle of super chats then?
No, I just ran through them all. I was like, while we were waiting, I just ran through them all.
You read all of them?
Yep. Yeah, we're good. We can move on to MAGA Makeover.
Okay, as long as everything's good.
Well, if it doesn't, we'll call it. But it's
I certainly hope so.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Again, we're intercession maxing, guys.
Yep.
For our tech issues today. Okay. So a liberal feminist author named Poppy Sowerby, who, by the way, I think it's relevant to mention, is British, decided to undergo a social experiment where she gave herself what she calls a MAGA makeover, and she documented the experience in a column in the Times of London. She explained that she was treated drastically differently by strangers in different parts of New York, depending on how she dressed and presented herself. And it was funny because she basically concluded by the end of this column that the MAGA Republican woman of the what is called new conservative movement is the ultimate nonconformist. And that, imagine my shock, I'm just gonna reference PJW right now. Imagine my shock when conservatism is the new punk rock.
I think you're supposed to say, imagine my shock.
Imagine my shock. Yep. So she titled it, My MAGA Makeover, How the World Saw Me Differently. Republican women's style is unrepentantly sexy. As a feminist who leans toward punk, I wondered, how would it feel to dress as one of them? And at the top of this piece, you can see her before and after comparison. And in her usual garb, she's wearing this intense eyeliner and blue eyeshadow. She has the typical liberal female bangs. She's wearing a loose-fitting t-shirt. and she definitely codes as alternative, and you would probably assume that politically she is a leftist.
Yeah.
However, she explained that she is more of a heterodox, liberal, like feminist leaning something or other, probably a type that was left behind many years ago by the left.
I could tell that just by her conclusion at the end, which was supremely rational.
Yeah. She says, picture a MAGA woman, a fluorescent blonde in jewel tones flitting about the Oval Office, a perma-tanned girl in a sharp sheath dress partying for Trump's inauguration, looking like a Stabilo Boss highlighter at cocktail hour. Think Caroline Levitt, Erica Kirk, Nancy Mace, each one a chimera of pageant queen and press officer. Her makeup is dramatic. Her hair flows in barrel curls onto bronzed shoulders. These are hyper-feminine girl bosses, polished, put together, and a million miles from avant-garde. So distinct is the look that TikTokers coined the term Republican makeup this year. She is crafted in the image of the straight white male gaze, as one gender studies professor, of course, told Women's Wear Daily. You recognize her instantly. The top MAGA babes are those Trump himself would fancy. Just look at female members of his cabinet, the Kristi Noems and Pam Bondis of DC. Barbara Rez, once head of construction at the Trump Organization, wrote in her memoir that Donald wanted the world to think only attractive people worked for him. In MAGA land, you'd better scrub up well. And then there's me. I labor under the delusion of being cool. I cut my own hair badly. I'm deathly pale. I wear blue eyeshadow and dye the tips of my hair pink or green. I bite my nails. My teeth are a tribute to British dentistry. My teenage liking for purple corduroy culottes earned me the Most Edgy award at university. That's how hard I try.
Wait, do they...
All of this...
I understand the, most something awards in high school because they had yearbooks. Why are they doing that at colleges?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's because British people call high school college.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why they do that, but they have, they call everything some stupid name that makes no sense. But yeah, high school in Britland is actually called college.
And then they threw it in the bin.
But then college is what they call uni.
Oh, she's got a bin. She's got bins behind her.
All of this is meant to seem effortless, but really it's tribal signposting. I am this sort of woman, not the other one. People assume incorrectly that I'm ultra progressive. They see a janky haircut and a man-repelling blazer and do subconscious calculus. This here is a campus radical, an insufferable lib, maybe even a vegan. These logical leaps are almost amusing, but they help me, someone with occasionally heterodox views, fly under the radar. This is particularly true in America, where young people are more divided than in Britain. Here, a nose ring or a red hat can spell out your destiny. And since moving to the East Village in New York City, where alternative punk aesthetics are mainstream, I've wondered, how would I be treated if I looked the exact opposite? If I had my own MAGA makeover, what would I think of myself?
Well, actually, people in the last segment, the first thing they noticed with Odessa was they're like, nose ring, disregard.
Yeah, opinion discarded.
Yeah.
She conducted this social experiment where first she went around in her MAGA garb in Midtown Manhattan, which is right around the area of Trump Tower, and that tends to be where the most conservatives in the city congregate. And then she moved on to saunter about the East Village, where she said all of these punk libs exist, and would harshly judge her for looking like a MAGA woman. And one of the encounters that she had with her MAGA costume on in Midtown was a man sitting outside Prada saying, "You look like a conservative." And when asked why, he said, "Because you don't look like, how do I say it, a slut. Liberal girls, they dress kind of slutty." And she said, "On weekdays, in my clunky shoes and baggy jumpers, he'd probably pin me as a frigid man-hater. I'd never heard someone be so upfront about these assumptions before. Can our sexual politics be so easily read?"
Yes.
And then, she goes through all of the changes that she made to her appearance. She has the iconic pearl headband where she pulls back her liberal bangs. She puts on a bunch of spray tan all over herself. She wears this I would say not really all that sexy red dress with a double-breasted front and these nude stilettos, and walks around in below freezing New York all day searching for reactions to her look. And she sees that when she's around the area of Trump Tower, people are admiring her. And when she goes to the leftist center of East Village, people are judging her quite harshly for how she looks. And then she concludes by the end of the piece about the MAGA woman that in liberal youth culture, the MAGA babe is a genuine radical. She doesn't care if the cool kids hate her. She is unapologetically sexy and feminine. Her president is in power, and so is she. Though her values are not mine, I respect her brashness as the ultimate nonconformist. Maybe the true punks today are the all-American, pearl-earringed pageant girls of new conservatism. The MAGA babe is everything I am not. Unrepentantly sexy, dressing for men and often agreeing with them. But here's the thing. In a city like this, that takes a lot of guts. So my first point of confusion here, honestly, is that the MAGA babe doesn't dress in a way that I would define as for the male gaze or overtly sexy, actually.
How would you describe it then?
I want to actually pull up this example from the Washington Post that I sent you earlier. This is the dress that swept Capitol Hill. This is the Jackie dress, which is sold by a brand called Tuckernuck, which is incredibly popular with Republican women, especially in the DC area where they have brick and mortar stores. And this dress was all over the place at the RNC in 2024 and has been ever since. Republican women dress like this. And I'm not going to lie, there is nothing sexy about it, which is fine if you're not going for sexy. But where is this narrative coming from that Republican women are going out of their way to get sexual attention from men in the way that they dress?
Yeah.
That doesn't make much sense to me. It seemed like a bit of a shoehorned conclusion at the end of Poppy Sowerby's piece there. And just a couple of days ago, the Daily Beast published this piece about Tuckernuck and the fact that it's become known as a staple in every Republican woman's closet, especially the very high-profile ones who work for the Trump administration, including Usha Vance, Caroline Leavitt, Kristi Noem, many of whom have been spotted in the actual store by the employees who work there. And the three women who founded this brand are the most stereotypical New England blue blood, dyed-in-the-wool Democrat wealthy elites that you can imagine. And they've been asked repeatedly to speak on the reputation their brand has earned as one that is for Republican women. And I mean, I guess to their credit, they're trying to clarify that, you know, like, we're making clothes for everybody and we just want to spread positive vibes and like make people happy. But you know, if anybody is going to stop you from, you know, I guess bridging the political divide with your business, it's going to be women on the left who boycott you because they'll boycott anything that MAGA touches.
Yeah, but is this the type of thing where, look, the women boycotting aren't the same as the women at the high levels of who are the big names in like Democrat women? Like what? It's like an AOC, so it's like pants.
Definitely.
So it's like pantsuits.
More muted tones, less bright colors, things that are generally less imposing, I guess.
They wouldn't be wearing this stuff anyways. Like, but what you are looking at here is the Democrat donor class.
Sure, yeah, and that is documented in this piece that the three founders and owners of Tuckernuck have on public records donated multiple times to Act Blue.
I see that here. Hold on. Big super chat here from Just Put a Towel Down. You have friends in Tennessee. Thank you. $100 super chat. Thank you for the crisis
very
party.
much for the crisis party whenever that kicks in.
It will.
And they also interviewed anonymous Tuckernuck employees in this piece who are upset that they have to sell clothing to Republican women who they think are evil. And they asked basically a professional fashion critic who is on the political left why she thinks Republican women have such a distinctive sense of style. And she essentially said this is indicative of how they're posturing as being in the traditional roles of womanhood, that they are, being kept in the home and are focused on child rearing. And I'm just like, on what planet? Because
so
all of the women,
they're wearing these dresses while at home with their kids.
No, that's obviously just the polar opposite of the reality, because we're seeing this clothing worn by Fox News anchors, cabinet members, and lower level political staffers, all women who work full time in a highly competitive, highly stressful, and highly aggressive masculine environment.
Yeah.
So I think that's a better explanation for why they dress the way they do than, I guess, according to them, posturing as trad wives. Like, I think that's a ridiculous assumption.
The idea that you would look at the likes of a Megyn Kelly and think of her as a trad wife is a weird. It means you either don't understand the people that you're talking about, or you've never interacted perhaps with any of the people that work in this space. Like, the women that grow to be successful in media have to be far more masculine than any other woman in most women in their professions, right? Because they're going up against men in a very, heavy field where you have to basically, I don't know if you have to undercut everybody, but you have to be willing to get yours and not worry about whether somebody else is getting screwed or not.
Right, exactly. It caters to not just Republican women, but Republican women who live a life that is very much in the public eye, who have to survive in an incredibly cutthroat world of media and politics.
Yeah.
And personally, the MAGA babe look is very far from what I describe as my taste. I hate it, honestly. I really don't like the Jackie dress in particular. I just, it's not for me. But I think that a lot of people are tragically misunderstanding what the MAGA babe is, because you're either portraying it as women who are dressing to be sexually appealing to men, which is evidently not true, and women who are dressing in order to seem more traditional, which is also not true. They're often dressing in incredibly imposing silhouettes, very bright, imposing colors, and it's a way to kind of command a presence in the room in a very masculine environment. Whether you think that's a good or a bad thing, I think that's their true motive for why they have such a distinctive dress sense. It's one that I would never try out for myself.
I mean, but also they're front-facing people, and having very, very distinct image, like having a very distinct look, can only benefit you. It's like there are men in the space who separate themselves by wearing suits to do stuff like what we do, right? Where you can set yourself apart just by not dressing like everybody else in the space. Even Tim, after a fact, has his calling card, and he'll always have that calling card because it's different from everybody else. It's his own thing. So, the men in the it actually would be, so imagine this. If you're a guy in the podcast space, you would set yourself apart by wearing a suit. And if you were a guy in the regular space, in the news space, hold please.
Thank you guys.
Eating the cats.
Number 3?
Eating the
Four.
cats.
4. Thank you guys.
Eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs.
Okay.
They're eating the cats.
We're almost done. Okay. So if you're a guy in the podcast space, you could set yourself apart by wearing a suit. And if you were a guy doing the news, you could set yourself apart by wearing a regular t-shirt. They wouldn't let you because there's standards they have to have there, I'm sure, that they have to look a specific way.
The quote from that leftist fashion critic said, it's kind of affirming a traditional role for women, putting it back in keeping them in the home and keeping them focused on child rearing, that kind of thing.
But this is that discussion that people, I mean, you and me have had this discussion on the channel before, where is there a bit of of hypocrisy in the way that they feel. I'm not saying that's necessarily the truth, that the women in the conservative movement talk about how you should be having kids and you should be at home, but it's being told to you by women that are very much public facing. They are the boss babe. They go, they work long hours. They have a difficult job. They're not what you would call a traditional housewife.
I don't know if I would call it hypocrisy to be charitable. It's just women in that space have a hard time imagining what it's like to not be in it. I was interviewed for a piece in, I forget what publication it was. I don't want to put other people who ended up quoted in it on blast or anything. But the premise of the piece was about conservative women's attitudes towards defining their life in terms of seasons. And there might be, a season of your life where you're focusing more on work, or a season of your life where you're focusing more on family,
or if you're a liberal,
whatever.
If you're a liberal, you're in your era because of Taylor
Eras,
Swift.
right?
Yeah.
It's literally just the conservative Christian woman's version of saying that she's in her blah 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 era.
Okay.
So, I mean, my quote didn't make it in the piece, I presume, because I said, you're interviewing a bunch of highly privileged women who have no idea what it's like for actual working class mothers. And most of them work because they have to work, and they don't have jobs where the hours are flexible, or you get to choose when you want to step back or spend more time on it. You're interviewing people who have podcasts. How is this relevant to the general public at all? So, of course, my quote didn't make it into the piece, but one that did is a public commentator who is a mom of one, and she said that there's no reason why having children needs to limit your personal freedom whatsoever. And I was just like, that's quite an insane thing to say. Nobody with a job that is in a traditional 9-to-5 format is going to find that relatable. Of course, having children, especially when you get to having multiple children, limits your personal freedom.
Yeah.
No one's saying that should make it inherently bad, or that, you shouldn't have kids because it limits your personal freedom. But it's a fact that it does. And the only people for whom that doesn't apply is these highly privileged, out of touch, both women and men who work in the media space, who have no idea what other what challenges other people are facing.
I mean, that's increasingly true, I think, for especially the higher up they get, the more money they make, the farther away they get from the average everyday person's experience. And then the question becomes are you the person to be talking about it if it's not the life that you're living right now? But you've also said before in the past that just because it's not somebody's circumstances doesn't mean they're giving you bad advice.
Yeah, well, they're not being malicious, right? Megyn Kelly isn't being, in my opinion, malicious when she gives women advice about how to have it all. She just doesn't realize that she's Megyn Kelly and other women are not Megyn Kelly. She's just exceptional on literally every front that is relevant to why she has her perspective.
But it's a defeatist idea to be like, okay, I'm the exception, you shouldn't even try. That's a defeatist perspective to put out in the world. So giving advice, even if it's not necessarily inherent to your worldview, may not always be a bad thing. We should be encouraging people to do well. Now, when it comes to the parenting stuff, that becomes dicey because people have very strong opinions on that. So it leads to a lot of big discussions.
Well, yeah, you never want to be so uncouth to come out and say, if you're Charlie and Erica Kirk doing a panel with a bunch of college students asking you questions, you're not going to come right out and say, well, we do things the way we do things because we're exceptional people, even though that's the truth. But then you're gonna try to give advice instead for who you presume to be the average person. And that's why they tell people, to have kids at a young age, for instance, even though they didn't personally do that.
I mean, but also maybe you give that same advice that about, for the life that you lived, but you say it's not going to be easy. It's difficult. It might be the hardest thing you ever do in your life, but it's still good advice.
Yeah. And people will respect you more for presenting a more balanced take on the matter. But yeah, as for the fashion brand that has become the staple for all of these Republican women.
What's it called again? It's called Tucker Nuck?
Tucker Nuck.
Please tell me Tucker Carlson owns this brand.
No, he actually should sponsor it though. But the reason for that is it's an if you know offshoot island of Nantucket where they summered as children.
Well, I would never know that. So I clearly fail. I'm part of the pores.
They're selling an aspiration, of course.
All right.
That much is clear. But as for them, they can continue trying to be a bipartisan brand and get business from people on both sides of the aisle, but it's people on the left side of the aisle who are going to make that as difficult as possible for them.
Yeah. They should keep trying that, though. We need more bipartisan things. All right, we do got some super chats here to finish the show, so I'm gonna get to this one.
Okay.
Here's one of the ones that I missed up here. I wanted to save it because you weren't on.
Okay.
From No343 says Pearl Daly has been crap talking you lately, Mary. Who's Pearl Daly? Is that Pearl?
Is that a typo that it was supposed to be Davis?
Maybe.
I
swear, I'm already bad at reading, but sometimes I swear they just leave out the apostrophes and the commas and the periods just to make it worse.
They don't make it easy. But to address that, I have no idea. Genuinely, I have not seen or heard any of that. So you're telling me this for the first time, but that's to be expected from her.
Let me see if there was a couple others that also mentioned you. Somebody did. Robert Delara did mention that Target is based in Minneapolis. Pray for Minnesota as a whole. They are going through it right now. Yes. Every 5 years, apparently, Minnesota needs to, go through something. 6 years right now. Let's see here. Robert Delara says the airport is a really good place to people watch. You see some real characters while you're waiting for your flight. Actually, for me, that's actually true. And so back when I was still not sober, I tricked myself into thinking that the airport was more fun than it was. I don't like the airport as much anymore. I'm not a huge fan of, I don't hate flying. I'm not scared of getting in an accident, but, I actually like that we drive back to Michigan now.
Are you at the next one from Shane H. Wilder?
Well, I've read a bunch of these. I was just going back to see if there was any of these ones that mentioned you.
Okay.
Just because I didn't want to skip the ones that mentioned you. Yeah, this one here from Chief Corey Anderson says, Brett, do you miss Mary, or is the silence and calm worth it? Mary, are you going to add Mr. Fluffykins to your backdrop now that there is no color scheme?
As for Mr. Fluffykins, I don't think we have the space for that in the backdrop. But, guys, we start planning the show at about the same time that we did before.
Yeah, it's not like we just go on camera and start. Like we have to we spend at least 3 hours prep for the show, getting everything ready, thumbnails, organizing all the visual assets, organizing the articles, going over the order, what we're going to talk about, what order. It's just as much. It's just not in person. The only people it probably makes it weirder for is the other people in this building who just hear me talking to myself.
We were joking earlier, Brett just sounds like he's talking to himself, and then he says, so yeah, the super chlamydia, we want to get that out tonight.
We want to put out super chlamydia at 7 tonight, or do we want super chlamydia tomorrow at 8 in the morning?
I don't know which is worse. Chlamydia at 7 p.m. or 8 a.m.
This one from Man Bear Cow TV also mentioned you. Said, Brett, your camera work is fine. Jeremy is nuts with how much his eyes dart around. Gives me anxiety. Mary, hi, Kentucky Derby in May.
Hint, hint?
Hint, hint.
What's the hint? I'm not catching the hint. Is it that you want me to go to the Kentucky Derby? I mean, that would be cool, I guess.
Would you go? Would you go to the Kentucky Derby?
It. Yeah.
And then pick up there from Shane H. Wilder at St. Carlo Acutis.
Okay, I see it now. I think we're on the same page here. But yeah, Shane just said St. Carlo Acutis Ora Pro Nobis. Yeah, I was really invoking St. Clair as well. We're just intercession maxing.
Before it was
until further notice.
Before it was the headphones. This time it wasn't the headphones. Or this
No,
before
it was not an audio issue. It was just the internet on my end. I have no idea why. This was another one from Man Bear Cow TV about the Kentucky Derby in May. I don't know what hint you're trying to drop here, unless it's just that you want me to go to the Kentucky Derby. But yeah, I would do it, sure. Robert Delara said, Mary, admit it, you were not having connection issues. You had to take a call with a Hollywood executive about your Prince Charming movie idea. I respect the side hustle.
Actually, I can confirm that if that was true, she had the actual issues as well, because I could literally see her upload speed, like, off a cliff. It was
pretty bad, yeah. But no, like, I'm waiting for my phone to ring. I'm waiting for somebody to pick up on my genius. Carnell said, Brett, is this a sign that hipsters are making a comeback with MAGA makeovers?
I would appreciate any hipster that is willing to wear, like, conservative merch ironically. I'm okay with that.
I guess it was ironic when she did it, but it was a journey of self-discovery. This was maybe from the same person. Boss N said, yo, Mary, Pearl, Daily been hating on you just so you know. Now I know. I did not know before, but now I know. Good. And I have been enriched for it.
Good to know. Is this, I have no idea. This is what we live with now, is like conservative people, like, I guess if you want to call all of them conservative, they're all just fighting with each other. They're like, I need something to fight about. So
I don't feel like I'm fighting with anybody.
No.
Like, least of all Pearl. I feel like that's totally one-sided, actually. Yep. Okay, I think you already read that $100 super chat from earlier. Yeah. Brian Bledsoe said, grew up middle class and my parents wouldn't get me a pair of Jordans. Bought a pair a couple of years ago just because. Also going to the Kentucky Derby for the first time this year.
That's a flex.
It's exciting.
Yeah, like, so I was mentioning earlier, like, skating wise, my parents didn't have the money to just buy new skates whenever I wanted them, even especially with hockey, like, also because hockey is such a prohibitively expensive sport to play. Like, sorry, I got skates every 6 months because you go through them that fast. And then with hockey, all my equipment was pretty much like secondhand after a couple of years, because it's just, we didn't have the money for new stuff, and I was okay with that.
Is telling people that you played hockey growing up the equivalent of telling them that you played lacrosse or like polo?
In Minnesota, no, because like everybody plays hockey. I mean, not everybody, but it's a rite of passage in Minnesota to play hockey.
Moon at Noon said MM with a rose emoji and BD with
a sandwich
emoji. I guess that's your.
Am I supposed to bring
symbol?
Moon at Noon a sandwich? Because I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm too feminist for that. We got a 20 there from Pop Culture Junkie.
Oh. Sorry, I missed that earlier. A producer who used to work for me went to Fox News to produce O'Reilly's promos. She occasionally dealt with Megyn Kelly and described her as near perfect at everything. She said I hated her and liked her at the same time.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, most of the time, what you don't realize is the people that make it to that level, it's not by accident. It doesn't just happen. They tend to actually be exceptional at something.
Right, yeah.
Like, I feel like that happens in a lot of spaces where people, they don't realize that they don't just show up that one day and get to where they are. They've lived many lives and, to get to the place that they are now.
Well, if I recall correctly, I think she was actually a partner at a law firm before she ended up as a Fox anchor. So she's always been very high achieving. Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, explain aspergillum, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, to Brett so he gets the joke from a super chat he read while you were down. Wait, where is that?
Do you know what that?
Where is the super chat?
Let me go up and find it. It was up higher.
Is that asparagus may, or am I like mistranslating things right
I'm
now?
glad that you're struggling with it too, because now I don't feel as stupid. Because I read it earlier and I was like, I don't know what that means, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, instrument to distribute holy water in church.
Okay.
Or other rites. I've definitely seen it. I just didn't know its name, but they bring that around during the asparagus may. And I don't know where the joke is, so I don't know if I can explain the joke.
I don't know.
I can't find it. Sorry. Red Snow said, "Is Mr. Fluffykins in the Gongolese mines?" No, he's perfectly safe in my home, staring at me right now across the room. I promise.
I think I missed. Okay, so the Shane H. Wilder one says you can get anything on a T-shirt. I nearly bought one that says "You bet your aspergillium."
Oh, the T-shirt thing?
Yeah. He said I almost bought a shirt that said "You bet your aspergillium I'm Catholic." I just couldn't bring myself to do it. We were talking about like logo shirts. I was like, I don't wear any shirts with logos. I own like 1 or 2 shirts with logos, and I got them both for Christmas, and I wear them around the house, but I do not wear them out.
So the thing is, Shane, most Catholics, even most trad Caths, wouldn't know the reference you're making there. I promise you.
But that's good. That means that means you're deep lore.
Do it for you, not for them.
There was one,
175.
I missed one up here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says the "Started to Suck" T-shirt designed by a guy who got fired from the TV newsroom and now makes money designing and marketing snarky merch for former TV people. That's a cottage industry if ever I've heard one.
That's amazing. I love that for him.
Yep.
Okay, are we all caught up?
We're caught up with the top
there?
ones.
Okay. High Voltage 75 said, "Besides crappy internet, how's Nashville treating you so far? I'm jelly that you're in such close proximity to In-N-Out. I know, you hate it." Well, I actually have not been to In-N-Out since moving here.
Wait, do you have strong feelings in the negative towards In-N-Out?
No, I mean, I just don't understand why it's so overhyped. Like, it's a good burger. The fries are not great. It's just like when I saw like the new In-N-Out in Nashville, like the videos of its opening day, where people were just lined up for blocks in traffic to get to In-N-Out.
I mean,
I just thought that was like NPC behavior. Like, why do you care that much? It's a burger.
I think
there are plenty of good burgers in this city.
I think it has to do with the regional aspect of it. So, like growing up skating when everybody wanted to move to California, that was a thing because you were in the Midwest where they didn't have it, and you'd read the articles in magazines and stuff with people doing tours there, and it became a thing, just like Whataburger did at that time. It was something you did almost as like, because when you skate, you don't go to other places and do tourist things like a traditional person because you're there to skate. You go, the closest thing you get to doing a tourist thing in California would have been to go to In-N-Out just for the novelty of it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that if you're visiting a place, but, it just opened where, we live. Yeah. So you can go there some other day that's not the opening day, and then you wouldn't have to wait in burger purgatory in order to get it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why people, wait in lines for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Who actually cares what Pearl thinks?" I mean, I'm sure some people out there.
Plenty of people that do.
Yeah, just not
That's
me.
a cope answer that people give on the internet when they say nobody cares what you think. Like to somebody who has like, if a guy has 10 people that care that watch their channel, then there's people that care what they think.
Mm-hmm. Hiroshima Otaru said, "Not even Pearl actually cares what Pearl thinks." You could argue that, yeah. And then he said, "Brett is not your billboard."
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Did I miss a reference?
I have no idea. Cold Leftovers said, "What's a Mr. Fluffykins can I see?" Well, I can't grab him right now, but he is my gigantic teddy bear that sits ominously on the other side of my apartment. And I think he's holding a gun right now. Shane H. Wilder said, "I couldn't do the t-shirt. It just felt too cringe." Fair enough.
We had a Rumble rant. I missed some Rumble rants yesterday. I wish I had saved them. But thank you to everybody that's watching over on Rumble. But Ricky Sky said, push the Rumble wallet. Yeah, they're you can now do chats and stuff with Bitcoin there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we receiving Bitcoin?
We just did
in our Rumble rants?
From Ricky Sky, yeah.
I don't know how that works, but okay.
But thank you to
Sure.
everybody watching on Rumble. See, people yesterday were like, the Rumble chat gets largely ignored. It's not that. It's that I don't have like 2 monitors, so it's always open to both the OBS, and then the other half of it is like and then YouTube is open with a separate tab, which has another tab for the Rumble stream and everything. So I sometimes it just gets missed. But thank you to everybody watching over on Rumble. We really appreciate it.
Are there any others?
I'm just
Rumble?
looking here. No, that was the one for today. Somebody also yesterday left a super chat that said it looked like I lost weight. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that.
Pop Culture Junkie said, favorite slogan t-shirt, Department of Redundancy Department. That's perfect. And Red Snow said, Burgatory, first burger chain of the Gongo. Well, I regret to inform you that there already is a burger chain named Burgatory. And it's just as millennial coded as you would think.
Yeah.
Greg Duvier said, the right lane is for crime, or is it the shoulder? I forgot. Phil hasn't been on forever.
Technically, the right lane is for crime because you're supposed to go faster in the left lane. So if you're going fast in the left lane, you're not
True.
actually breaking the law.
Yeah.
So,
Shane H. Wilder said, I saw them line up around the block for a Cane's.
For like Raising Cane's?
Why do normies love getting in lines that are just obscenely long? For like Labubu's or burgers or whatever? Like, why do they like suffering? It's weird to me.
So so there are definitely times because Olivia loves to go to a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's. And the lines are sometimes so obscenely long that they actually offend me. Where I'm like...
It is offensive.
I'm like, I am not sitting in that line. I'm not doing it. I will not. And it's the ones that they wrap around with like 30,000 products that they try to shove in your face. And I'm like, I am fundamentally against this. I'm not doing this.
And the lines are when you're looking at all the products that are in the line, it's bullshit like a Cracker Jack or like who even knows what.
Candy that costs $10,000.
Yeah, I'm not going to be waiting in line for a bar, for a restaurant, especially not to get into a store. I've seen that in malls.
It also incentivizes you. It incentivizes you to spend more money because you're like, I don't want to get in this line for
like,
one thing.
What did I suffer through this for? You know, you have to buy something once you're there. Yeah, it's deceptive. Hiroshima Otaru said, you just said you don't wear logo shirts.
Yes, that's what he meant by the billboard. Yeah. So I won't wear shirts with logos on. Also, most of the time I have a very let's face it, I have a very specific brand of t-shirt that I wear. All the shirts that I have in different colors, it's all the same shirt, just from, in a different color. Most of the time I can't find shirts that fit right. They're not cut the right way.
Corey Anderson said Thorn and Thistle is the burger joint of the Gongo.
Is that like a knockoff version of Thistle and Thorn?
That was their offshoot. Yeah, there are so many of those around here. Just every restaurant at this point is named X and Y, and you could just insert pretty much any word into that formula.
Does it involve a millennial man with suspenders playing stomp clap?
There's even like an equivalent version of a WeWork space that its name is literally just an ampersand.
Yeah.
It's just called like ampersand. I don't know if it's called and or ampersand, but that is the title of it. And I thought that it was a restaurant at first because I was like, that would be the ultimate postmodern millennial restaurant.
Yep.
I was disappointed to learn the truth.
All right.
I think we're all caught up on the super chats though.
We've got one more here from Shane, who we're getting dangerously close to a 5th crisis party, which is awesome, guys. Shane says, I've walked into places, seen the line, and nope the F out. Not worth my time. Yep.
Definitely not.
Oh, I mean, we do that. We've done that plenty of times with restaurants where we're like, I'm not doing that.
I mean, I'm willing to wait. If there's a wait at a sit-down restaurant, that I understand. Because at least, you don't have to stay in the same single file spot. You can go away for a minute and come back. Like, that is not quite what I mean. It's less inhumane than what people were doing outside of In-N-Out. That was just embarrassing.
All right, I'm going to make sure that we're all caught up on Super Chats. We're all, we may even get the 5th Crisis Party before we do the outro here, but we will have to wait and see. We are all caught up. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us today, especially everyone on both YouTube and on Rumble. I made sure to check both today. I'm not trying to leave anybody in the lurch. So hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Again, like I should be saying it more. Like button helps a ton. It really does help us in the algorithm. So hit the like button. Mary, where can they find you?
And the bell. Hit the bell so you get notified when we go live.
Yes.
Don't forget. Thank you guys for your patience with me as I've been struggling with my tech issues. It's a journey. Anyways, you can send me validation on Instagram.
Of course it's a journey. I'm sorry. Of course it's a journey.
Everything is a journey. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. I feel like I should be doing the NPR outro to see if we get the 5th Crisis Party. But also, if you go over there, before we do that, I'm going to repost this link in the live chat so you can send us your pets. Find that thread that I posted on X and put a picture of your cutest pets in there so that you can brag about them on the show. We will try to get them featured during the Cute of the Day segment. So again, Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, we can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help us out. So if you do that, thank you so much. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We will see y'all then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.